Welcome to The Explainer. We have these incredible equations that describe the physical universe. But have you ever wondered, is there a master equation for your life? Today, we're going to dive into a wild framework that connects the physics of the cosmos to the value of your own existence. So get this, the source material kicks off with this really profound idea. For ages, we've been looking for some tiny particle, a theory of everything, to tie the universe together. But what if the missing link isn't a thing at all? What if it's a concept, a system? What if it's all about governance?
This old friend. We've all seen it, right? Einstein's masterpiece. It's the bedrock equation for the physical world, telling us that mass and energy are two sides of the same coin. It's beautiful, powerful. It's the physics of matter.
But here's the thing. For all its genius, that equation can't tell you how to be a good person. It can calculate the power of a star, but not the value of a single act of kindness. So, the big question is there another one? Is there a parallel equation for what really matters?
And that's exactly what we're going to explore. Here's our roadmap. We'll unveil a moral counterpart to E equals mc squared, break down its components, and then dig into its 10-point operating system. We'll see why systems crash and burn, apply all of this to our own relationships, and finally, see how it leads to, well, becoming a polished diamond.
All right, let's jump right into part one. We're about to unveil a parallel equation, not for the physical universe, but for the moral universe. This is where we shift from the physics of what is to the physics of what ought to be.
And here it is. E equals ud squared. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Deceptively simple, just like its famous cousin. But this equation isn't measuring physical energy. Oh no. It measures something much deeper. Moral value, what the source material calls essence.
Okay, so what does that actually mean? How in the world does this equation work? Let's deconstruct it piece by piece and figure out the physics of purpose.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how perfectly it maps onto Einstein's formula. In physics, the input is m for mass. In our new equation, the input is u for utility, all your raw resources. In physics, the multiplier is c, the speed of light, a constant. Here, our multiplier is d, the established order, or your system of governance. And the output? Instead of a physical explosion of energy, you get E, the creation of essence, of timeless value and wisdom.
So let's be super clear. U is the fuel. It's all the stuff you can gather. Money, influence, skills, time. It's your potential. But by itself, it just sits there. D is the engine. It's the protocol, the rules of the game. And this is the absolute game changer. It acts as a multiplier. And E? That's the result. It's the lasting goodness, the eternal value you actually produce with your fuel.
Now, we absolutely have to zoom in on D because, frankly, D is everything. It's the key to the whole equation. You can think of it as the operating system for reality itself. The word used in the source is deen. Now, you might hear that word and immediately think religion. But for this to make sense, we need to understand it in a much broader way. Think of it as the established order. It's the fundamental set of rules that makes any system work, whether it's a galaxy, a company, or a family. It's governance.
The source gives a brilliant analogy for this. Why can you go into a McDonald's in Moscow or Miami and get the exact same Big Mac? It's not an accident, it's deen. It's a rock-solid, meticulously defined system of governance, clear rules, roles, and procedures that guarantee a consistent output every single time.
So what's inside this operating system? Well, it isn't some vague feeling. It's a concrete 10-point protocol. Any successful system has to start with number one, clear terminology. Everyone's got to be speaking the same language. Then you define roles, who does what. You clarify dues and responsibilities, so there's no confusion. You establish authorities, set the hard rules and the softer policies. It's a literal blueprint for success. And the blueprint continues. You need established procedures, the actual how-to guides. You have to clearly link actions to their implications, so everyone understands cause and effect. You define the domains of application, where these rules apply. And this is so important. You even account for exceptions. A system that nails these 10 points is a system with a really, really high D value.
So this is why the equation is more than just a cool idea. It's a diagnostic tool. We can literally use it to understand the math behind why some systems thrive and others just collapse.
Let's take the Pharaoh civilization as a case study. Their U value?
It was off the charts. We're talking massive wealth, huge armies, pyramids that still blow our minds. But what about their D value? Their governance system was based on tyranny, ego, and oppression. It was basically zero. So what does the math tell us? A gigantic number multiplied by zero is still zero. The output? Zero essence. All that power, all that wealth, left behind nothing but ruins and a cautionary tale.
Okay, enough about ancient empires. This is where it gets really personal. This framework doesn't just apply to civilizations, it applies to the most important systems in your own life, your relationships. Let's apply the physics.
Seriously, think about the core relationships in your life, your marriage, your business, your friendships, even the bond between a teacher and a student. How high is the D value? Start with elements 2 and 3. Are the roles crystal clear? Are the dues and responsibilities actually spelled out and agreed upon, or are they just a constant source of friction and resentment?
Now, think about elements 5 and 7. Every healthy family, every successful work team has non-negotiable rules, those bright lines you just don't cross. And they have procedures, right? The agreed-upon ways you handle conflict or make big decisions. If you don't have those, you have chaos and your D-value tanks.
And this might be the most important of all. Go back to element 1, terminology. Are you and your partner, or your boss, or your best friend even speaking the same language? Do you define huge words like respect, success, or love the same way? Because if you don't, your entire system is built on a misunderstanding, and your D-score is guaranteed to be low.
So why do we do all this work? Why put in the efforts to define roles and set rules and increase the D value in our relationships? This brings us to the ultimate goal, the beautiful endgame of this whole framework.
The source uses this incredible metaphor of the self, the nafs, as a diamond in the rough. It has limitless potential, but it starts out coarse and uncut. Every single well-governed relationship, every interaction where you apply these 10 elements, acts like a polishing cloth. It cuts another facet, smoothing out the rough edges, until your character can perfectly reflect its true, brilliant light.
And that leaves us with one last, massive question to think about. When you look at your own life's equation, where is your focus? Is it all on increasing you, just accumulating more stuff, more money, more power? Or are you focused on mastering D, on building high-trust, well-governed relationships that can transform that stuff into something that actually lasts? Are you just accumulating fuel, or are you creating essence?